How you going?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So how's your night going so far?
Really good, actually. Yeah, I'm very much enjoying it.
Yeah. What about it are you enjoying the most? Apart from me in person.
I definitely wouldn't do something like this by myself.
Yep.
For sure.
What would the main reason be for that? Without getting too personal.
Yeah, I probably just wouldn't feel very comfortable being out here by myself, just randomly taking shots of people.
Yeah. By yourself, yeah, fair enough.
Better to
And
be in
then,
pack.
do I just give you the confidence for that?
Yeah, and night photography is not really something that I've branched out into. So particularly just sort of your urban street kind of photography, I haven't done any of that at all. So I'm purely just a landscapes girl.
Yeah.
So this has been a lot of fun. Like, learned a lot.
And how are you finding this new experience?
Yeah, really good actually. I actually didn't have a lot of confidence. I was like, oh man, I'm probably going to get out there and not be able to see what you can see or whatever. But even just like you were saying before, I look at something in a different way to you. So you might be like, oh, did you see this? And I'll be like, oh, no. And it sort of opens up your perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome, isn't it? I love bouncing around ideas between each other. It's great. What got you into it? Like photography? Because I remember seeing you for the first time at a meetup for droning.
Yeah.
So were you droning first or were you photography?
No, I actually started photography when I was really young. I picked up a camera when I was still at school, and back then they weren't digital. Let's show my age. I used to just take a lot of happy snaps. And then I went to uni and I kind of put the camera away, and I put, picked it up a couple of times, but not very seriously. And then about a year and a bit ago, I bought this camera and went on holiday to Europe and just ignited the passion all over again.
Nice. And whereabouts in Europe did you go?
Oh, so I went to the UK and went to Italy. Spent 3 weeks in Italy and went right up to the north, right down to the south. It was wonderful. So much colour, so much life.
Nice.
Yeah, had a great experience.
Are you going to go back again?
I'd love to, but there's other places in the world I'd like to get to as well. I'd love to photograph Spain.
Oh, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I've done it. It's something I've done that someone else is keen to do. I've done it. It's Spain. I mean, I'd like to go to Madrid. I'd definitely go there again. My goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, Barcelona, Alicante, which is south of Barcelona. Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely sensational.
I think, and this is where this kind of stuff's going to come in handy, like coming out with you tonight, because most of what you probably would photograph in Spain is architecture, and it's not something that I've really branched out into before.
Familiar? Yeah. Hopefully it's done by the time you get there, but in saying that, it probably won't be because it's another few years, but it's such a great building, and at night time there's like a pond nearby and you can get the reflection of the whole thing. It looks so good.
Yeah.
It looks so good. Okay. What else is there for you that you want to improve in the art of photography?
Well, like I said, this is my first time out doing street photography at all, and it's at night. So I think I'd like to be able to improve upon I don't take my camera out when I'm just walking around the streets. Like I always wait till I've gone to a pre-decided on location and try to find my shot there, and usually it's just like an empty beach or some kind of serene setting. So this is completely different for me. So I'd like to keep doing this until I get it absolutely right.
Absolutely. Keep practicing. I still haven't got it right. Believe it or not.
I think you do a pretty good job.
Thank you.
And what I like about your profile as well is like you're not afraid to just, to post pictures of people and different things. Like your whole profile doesn't necessarily follow the same aesthetic all the time.
No, I'm not a fan of that. I mean, good on the people that do it.
Yeah.
And if they found their niche and they're comfortable with it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But based off of my experience and opinion, I find that not my thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to disrespect the people that are doing it by saying it's boring, but if they're loving it, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, I do my every third photo is black and white.
Yeah.
Some people might not like that and think it's like, that's a bit corny or whatever. I noticed a lot of people are not really, looking at my things because I'm doing more portrait stuff now, and I'm doing more video now. I'm doing all this new stuff now, but hey, I'm sorry to.
As long as you're happy.
Yeah, I love it. And in 10 years' time, I'm going to see this work and be like, I love it.
Yeah.
I see the work that I did 10 years ago, and it wasn't even like anything remotely close to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't even serious about it. It was just funny snaps. And I look at that and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because it was, the foundations of where I am now. So
I think my favorite thing to do is abstract. So I really like finding something that makes me feel something, or reminds me of something. A lot of people don't understand it though. So like even my own family, I took a photograph of some fairy lights like a year ago or something on Christmas Day, and it was really nice because there was only like one light in focus and the rest without a focus, and it gave me that feeling of celebration. The photograph did.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wicked, like I caught a feeling in this picture. And my aunt took one look at it and she was like, I don't get it. It's blurry. And I was like, it's supposed to be blurry.
Yeah.
It's like a memory. It's like a flashback.
Again, it's all subjective, and that's the beautiful part. People are starting to realise that in this PC world, people are like letting other people just do their own thing.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, and that's why like there are more photographers out there, because they're confident now. People are leaving them alone, and they're detaching themselves from negativity. They're just like, you know what? I don't care if you don't like my work. I'm going to still do it. Like I had a big fight with myself the first 3 years I was doing it, and I wanted to impress one or two people, and I wanted their opinion, and that opinion meant if I was good or not.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I like this.
Yeah.
But they still didn't, or they had some feedback to give me, and I looked at it, I took it on, but at the end of the day, I still loved my own work, and I took the photo for a reason. At that point in time, at that specific moment, I loved what I saw, and like my Instagram profile says and has said for the last 4 years, a photograph is a memory, a return ticket to a memory otherwise lost. And that's why I take photos, because every photo that I take, it takes me back to that place.
Yeah.
And good or bad memory, sometimes it triggers another memory that's not as good. It's still in the moment, and it's like a documentation that you need to do it.
Yeah.
And video as well. Video is just 30 photos per second or 60 photos per second. Depends on how rich you are and how much camera you can afford. Plus the luxury of having audio as well. So I love it. I love the whole experience, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it here.
Yeah.
I'm glad other people are enjoying it too.
Yeah.
But
forces me to, get out with the camera.
Yeah. I mean, like you said at the start of the night, you weren't keen on having the camera, and I mean, again, I'm glad that you're doing this for me, and
Hi, Mum.
and like even during this specific talk, normally the format is only 2 minutes, and then as we were talking, it's gone over 8 minutes now. As we were talking, I thought, you know what, 2 minutes is not long enough. I reckon people, they'll be out there, will be like, I want more. I want to hear them talk for another half hour. Even if they don't watch us visually, they can hear us.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that 10 years from now, someone will be watching this, binge watching these episodes, and be like,
finding out
I'm
what
going to
makes
get my
us
camera
tick.
out and go to take photos at night of these car trails because this guy has motivated me to.
Yeah.
If one person does that in the next 10 years, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
If more than that happens, bonus. If no one does it, I will look back in 10 years' time and be like, hey, how good was my life back then? And hopefully is at that point in time, and that's the best thing.
I think it's always good to talk to other photographers about what motivates them to take and what they look for as well. I think one of the guys on Insta the other day put something up about, tell me what makes you love photography, because they sort of said that they'd lost their motivation a little bit. And
I've heard that so many times.
The responses were awesome.
Yeah.
Just everyone, different opinion on what they're doing and what they're trying to capture was amazing. Yeah.
I mean, like motivated or not, I've heard a few people have messaged me that have come on my tours that have said, I've picked up the camera more times now than I've ever have before after we've gone on. And it wasn't even the plan. That wasn't even my initial, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I just said, hey, anyone keen on coming out and taking photos? Because I just thought it'd be fun to do it with somebody else. and all of a sudden all these people I've never met before are
Wanna do it
messaging
too.
me saying, hey, let's come out, and I'm just like, yeah, let's do it.
You know,
and yeah,
I think because it can get a bit lonely
yeah,
because, you know, I mean, let's face it, none of my friends are into photography, so it's not like I'm like, hey, come and watch me take a long exposure. You're just gonna have to stand there really still for like the next half an hour, you know.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to do that if they're not interested in what you're doing. So I think it can get a bit lonely. So the fact that you just put it out there, like, hey, anyone want to just come and join me? I'm just going to be walking around the city. I think people were like, hell yeah. Like, I wanted to do that, but I didn't want to do it by myself. And now I can do it in a group and make friends. And yeah, for sure.
It'd be a shame if it did drop, but if it did, I'd still be doing it myself. I mean, the magic wouldn't be as good, but I'd still be doing it.
I think
it's something I love.
You've built yourself a little clique.
Yeah. Thanks. And they're doing it all around. They're all doing it around in America, but they're doing it differently. I feel like I'm doing it my own way and differently again. And I'm not competing with anybody else. I'm doing my own thing. And once you're comparing yourself or thinking about someone else's opinion about anything you're doing, you've lost.
Yeah.
Automatically. So, all right. If you had one final question,
Yes.
if you had any advice to give anyone about anything, doesn't have to be with photography, what would it be?
Oh, good gosh. Any advice?
Any advice? What's something you live by? What would you tell your kids?
Try to be authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we spend most of our time trying to appease the people around us, and I think you get lost. And I spent a very good portion of my teenage years and my 20s just trying to be something that someone else would like. And then one day I was like, hang on a second, I want to be who I like.
I like that.
Yeah.
Kids need to do that earlier in their lives.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
hard, but I definitely think if you can get that message through to younger people that it's okay to be whoever it is that you are,
Absolutely.
and give them that self-confidence, because I didn't have it, and I made decisions that I wouldn't have made purely based on what I thought someone else would want. Yeah.
And with that comes the end. I know I said that one final question, but can you give a statement to the crowd, especially for female photographers who are, like yourself, a little bit cautious about coming out at night? And sure, it can promote me in this because I'm happy to take anyone out in Perth, around the world, if you want to fly me there and we can hang out. If you were to tell the female-specific photography community something about this, what would you say?
Oh, like Sev's super easy to hang out with. I don't feel, it's not awkward at all. Like, it's really nice. We've hung out a couple of times, we've gone droning. Now he's showing me all these cool spots around the city, which, to be honest, I would never have the courage to just go roaming on my own and find these places. I'd probably come into the city and there'd be lots of people around and I'd be like, I don't have the confidence for this, and I'd just head home. So I've actually discovered a lot of cool spots around the city, and Sev's real chill. He's so easy to hang out with, and he knows where to get good coffee. It's important.
Thank you. All right, easy. Well, have a good night, and if you're watching this in the morning, have a good morning, and good thanks.